Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be ranking every single rework that Shindo Life has done from worst to best. Now, this isn't going to be only about Bloodlines, but Bloodlines will be included into this tier list. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe to the video, guys. By the way, guys, I'm not doing this just on how good they are after the rework, but I'm going to say how impactful the reworks actually were to the game. Alright, so coming in 10th place is going to be the Odin Sabaru Bloodline Rework. Now, the reason why this is going to be coming last is because, honestly, this is barely a rework, and it's more of just a visual upgrade. It is practically the same exact Bloodline, but the only thing that has changed is a color and a little bit of the visual effects. Like, some of the visual effects got upgraded, but it honestly was just a color change. Now, in my opinion, I think that this was actually intended to be a skin for Odin Sabaru, and Odin Sabaru ended up just not being popular enough of a bloodline, so they ended up just making it to the actual bloodline itself. That is what I believe, at least, because it feels like it's the same exact bloodline with slight upgrades, and it's a color change. So I mean, like, it's practically a skin, but the skin replaced the original, if that makes sense. Now, coming to 9th place, it could be the Ren Shiki rework. Now, I was going to group this in with a rework that happens later on because it was very close to being in the same location, but I think Rishiki should just be on its own because I feel like the rework isn't really attached to them because, you know, even though it was very close to where they were, it wasn't that close. Like, it was within like it's basically a month after the other reworks happened. So I do think it's a rework on its own. But, you know, Red Goku rework, honestly, it didn't really change anything about the bloodline itself. It keeps a lot of the spirit of the abilities alive, which I think is perfect. It is exactly what a rework should do, and I mean, honestly, it's just a complete upgrade to the bloodline itself. But the reason why it's going to rank this low, even though Red Shiki itself is honestly a pretty good bloodline, is because I do feel like it wasn't that impactful to the game. The only thing people really use Red Shiki for nowadays is the second mode, and that's for PvE content. Right, coming to 8th place, it could be the Taijutsu reworks. So first of all, some of the combo extending abilities were made to not be able to combo extend anymore, but obviously you could still combo extend. They were actually buffed because now they're instant. What they were intending to do is try and make them not able to combo extend anymore, even though they are. There was a subjutsu that was moved to the Taijutsu menu. Ember Hurricane got a small change where it knocks back at the end, and then, you know, Riot Barrage was changed, so now you can't actually use moves during it that easily before, but, you know, it's still move stackable. Like you guys can see, I still did it with no gap in between. So I mean, like, the Taijutsu rework honestly was not that big of a deal, at least the recent one. Some of the old Taijutsu reworks were more of a big deal than the new ones, but the new one was honestly just an you know, upgrade for some of the moves and just a change for some moves entirely. Now, coming to 7th place, it could be the Tin Tails rework. Honestly, one of my most favorite reworks in the game, but just because it's one of my favorites doesn't mean it's actually one of the best reworks. Now, first of all, Tin Tails is just it's just an amazing rework. I mean, it's such a visually good bloodline, and the bloodline, not bloodline, my bad, guys, this is obviously not a bloodline, and the abilities themselves are honestly really amazing as well. Also, the stats of the mode are absolutely insane. I'm gonna say this, and I think I'm speaking for everyone when I say this: Tin Tails would be amazing as a bloodline. The tin-tailed bloodline, seriously, like, I'm being dead serious when I say Tin Tails would be absolutely amazing as the bloodline. I think it would be such a cool concept to have as a bloodline. I know Forge Ren is kind of Tin Tails as a bloodline, but I mean, like, something to do with this mode, like, make this sub-ability mode into a bloodline. I think that would be absolutely stunning, because this is single-handedly one of my favorite modes in the entire game. But yeah, Tin Tails mode is honestly, it's a really good duel mode in general. I also think that the second mode is really good for, you know, traveling as well. Do I have the second one unlocked? I do not. The second one, basically, you hop into a dragon and you can actually fly really fast. But Tin Tails in general, I honestly think Tin Tails is just a really good mode. The reason why it's going to rate this low, there's not much impact on the game. Have you ever gotten 80th spin rarity and gotten something like just atomic? Well, that's because you haven't hit the like button on this video yet. If you hit the like button on this video, you're guaranteed to get 10 million times luck. 100%. Now, coming to 6th place, you can beat the Tengoku, Rengoku, and Sengoku rework. Now, it should be pretty obvious if you guys have been playing Shindo Life as to why I grouped these together. They were all within the same month of happening. Basically, they were grouped together as, you know, bloodline changes. Now, the reason why they're only gonna be 6th and not higher in the menu is because, honestly, Tengoku, Sengoku were more of visual upgrades than anything else. Tengoku got, like, you know, the mode got changed entirely and the second ability got changed entirely, but the rest of the abilities are honestly almost the exact same. If anything, the third move actually got nerfed, which is funny enough because there's way too much startup and it place locks you. So I mean, Tengoku overall is probably it's better than it was before, but I would say it's a very small upgrade over what it was. Now, I'm gonna be talking about Red Goku last because that is the reason why it's going to rank this high on the list. But Sengoku as well. Sengoku got some, you know, sweet mode upgrades. It got the third mode attached to it, which is obviously a lot better. The visuals of the bloodline got changed a bunch, and then the counter got changed entirely. But yeah, like I was saying, Rengoku is going to be the only reason why this is going to rank this high. Rengoku has one of the coolest movesets in the entire game due to the mode being able to swap between different abilities while also having companions attached to. Honestly, just one of the coolest and one of the honest best modes in the game. Like, it depends on how well you can can actually use the mode, because everything's on a 5-second cooldown and things like that. You have companions, so you have to constantly be switching the abilities out and in. You have to memorize what to use in what different scenarios. It's a really hard to use mode, but honestly it's extremely fun, and Rengoku's abilities themselves are also pretty good. You know, it had the charge up ability attached to it, which is one of the very rare abilities in the game that actually allow you to charge up. So coming in 5th place is going to be the rare element reworks. Now I'm going to be separating them from the common ones because they happen in different intervals, but the rare element reworks was very impactful into the game. Honestly, it was just basically a visual upgrade with a lot of the abilities just being changed overall. Like I think the rare element reworks, I think that honestly the element reworks are how reworks should have been done. Now I will say this, I do think the element reworks probably should have happened like a year ago, but you know, maybe them happening now is because they've gotten so much better at just developing in general. Like their developing prowess has just gotten significantly better. But I do think the rare element reworks is honestly just an absolutely amazing rework. A lot of the abilities honestly look amazing. They're very unique as well from one another. None of them are really the same completely. Very, very unique elements in general. I do actually like a lot of the new ones as well, like the new combustion, as you guys can see, is absolutely amazing. New asset had a fun glitch attached to it. Shiver has like one good ability like this, and even Gale got some love from Rail Games. Like how surprising is that for Gale of all bloodlines to get some love from people? I mean, like Gale in general is honestly just it's pretty good now. Like what I was saying, I do think the rare element reworks is honestly amazing. I do think that, you know, it definitely is going to help the game a lot more in the future. The coming to 4th place, it could be the Sage mode reworks. Now I'm not going to be going through every single Sage mode because there's a bunch of them, but the Sage mode reworks were honestly amazing. I mean, they added a bunch of new, you know, things to the game. A lot of the ideas in the Sage modes are actually implemented in a lot of the newer bloodlines in the game, which is why we've actually been getting unique bloodlines that aren't like the other ones. And you know, they implemented a lot of different, you know, new things to the game that honestly I think made the game a lot better. Like, I mean, like, first of all, the modes themselves were all terrible. I mean, like, look at Snake Sage, look at both of the Frog Spirits. I mean, both the Frog Spirits were absolutely abysmal before, besides for M1s, and they made it just so much better. Like, these Sage modes are actually, you know, very, very good now, if not, you know, overpowered a little bit. And I definitely think that they, you know, added a lot of very unique abilities to the game. It honestly is a shame more people don't use it, but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because open world PvP, like the PvP and RPG really isn't, you know, a lot of people don't really do it, if I'm gonna be honest. More people focus on grinding or going into Arena X and competitive. Most of the public PvP people go to a specific map and they just use meta stuff. Now, of course, I'm gonna be showing you guys the Slug Sage, which is actually the most broken Sage Spirit of the game. It allows you to heal pretty much infinitely. I'm not gonna, you know, talk about it, you know, more than I have to, because honestly, it's just a really stupid broken mode. It's a really, really good Z-spec. It allows you to heal yourself. It allows you to charge your mode back. Honestly, just a really amazing mode in general. The coming to 3rd place is going to be the Diva Ren Inferno Ashes Storm update rework. Now, the reason why this was going to rank so much higher than the other Bloodline reworks is because I feel like these actually had quite a big impact to the game. Inferno is still super broken, and it was like insanely broken for a while. Diva Ren is still one of the best Bloodlines in the game. I mean, like, the abilities honestly themselves were also absolutely amazing changes. They all basically had their identity completely changed, and I do think it was just an absolutely amazing rework that was introduced to the game. Like, I feel like the amount of change that happened because of these reworks, I do think that it was a huge impact to the game. I do think that, you know, they're amazing reworks in general as well. Like, Diva Ren, as you guys can see, is absolutely amazing. Even Inferno, which was literally one of the single worst bloodlines in the game, they managed to actually make good, and they actually managed to make it useful. I mean, like, it has one of the single best traveling moves in the game, and it has, you know, a pretty good, you know, like combo stopping ability, which is the 3rd move. The 1st move isn't that good, but who cares about the 1st move? I mean, like, the other 2 is so good. And then you got Ashes Storm, which honestly, I don't really feel like Ashes Storm itself is that good, but I do feel like the rework definitely made it a breath of fresh air, and spinning Ashes Storm isn't just an absolute waste of your time anymore, because I definitely feel like it's much better than what it was before. Now, coming to 2nd place, I'm not going to talk about this that much because it's kind of hard to talk about. It's going to be the Companion reworks. In my opinion, the Companion reworks are the 2nd best rework to ever be introduced to the game. It basically reworked a system that literally nobody used at all, and I definitely think that the fact that what they did with the Companions, having it so there's an NPC on your side that it helps you grind, or even PvP if you're one of the scummy people that actually like using Companions for PvP. If you're one of those nerds, I guess it could help you PvP as well. But I do think the Companions were an absolutely amazing system introduced to the game. Allows new players new players basically a second friend to help them with grinding, and honestly, it's just a really cool system in general. They could have implemented it a little bit better. Like, it's kind of really hard to level up the companions. I definitely think they probably should have added an entirely different move slot for companions, but you know, you can't complain. It was honestly just a really good change. By the way, guys, what has been your favorite rework in Shindo Life? For two comments below, we'll be checking them out. And to come into first place as the best rework to ever happen to Shindo Life is going to be the common element reworks. The common element reworks honestly paved the way for the rare element reworks, which is why it's going to rank so much higher than those ones. And I do think the common element reworks, it was like I said, for the rare ones, I do think it was needed for such a long period of time. Like, it definitely should have happened like a year ago, but I do understand why they waited so long to do it. I mean, it was such a big undertaking. It took them months to actually rework all the elements, and all of the common elements are honestly just so much better now. I mean, like, you guys, if you guys haven't played Shindo Life recently and this is your first Shindo Life video in a while, you could just look at what I'm doing right now. You could just look at the abilities and just see, like, these bloodlines, these elements don't even look the same. Like, they were just so changed, but they're like the same, but they're changed at the same time. It's just honestly just absolutely amazing visual upgrades, absolutely amazing gameplay upgrades, and they definitely made every single element useful. I think that is the craziest thing about it, is that they managed to make every element useful in a different way. Each element is good at different things, and each element has its own purpose in being in the game. While before there was like pretty much all the common elements were just complete trash besides like one of them. And I do feel like, you know, element reworks is just absolutely stunning, honestly. I mean, like I was saying before, like all of these elements now, as you guys can see, they're all good now. They all have their own things that are good. They all definitely look a lot better. Like, look at Stone right here. Stone just looks significantly better than what it did before. I mean, like, look at the stunning potential from this why do I keep saying bloodline? It's not a bloodline, it's an element. It's just I feel like, I don't know, the elements are honestly super amazing now. Some of them are better than a lot of the bloodlines in the game. I do feel like it was just very impactful as a rework. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Make sure this video, remember to subscribe, guys. Bye bye.